Hey, hiya. Okay. Ah, I'll try tonight with this biggie. We'll see. But before we get into that, let's catch up. Observations, insights. What are you bumping into in your trek through the universe? Talk to me. If I don't know where you are, I'm not sure where to go. Mark is with us.
Sensei, Chris here from New Zealand.
Yes.
I guess I've been vocal the last few sessions, but it almost seems for me that and I think you've mentioned it before, you're not creating anything. It's already there, and we're just aligning nicely to it. We're aligning to it.
Okay.
Our
Can you hold it
movements.
right there? Can you hold it right
Right?
there? Something about the creation's already been created. It's all there. But within that, we're sub creators. Can I say sub? I like the word sub creators. So there's a lot of leeway in creating a better world, your better world, or whatever, or you as a better self. In there is where we're supposed to activate a bit. But the first layout of creation was created by what's his name? Thank you. But within that, we're given permission, excuse my wording, to be sub creators. That's part of the game. So I'm sorry, continue. Thank you.
Yep. So for me, it always feels a sense of I'm never in that experience of being scared at a place of relaxed, and I'm moving to where you're almost supposed to be, and then you get a bit mindful. But there's always moments of um, acceptance, that creativity, that acceptance. Yeah,
Acceptance.
yeah. So it's the path we sort of I feel I go down is it's sort of true and it's there. I don't have to work hard. When we do work hard, we start stuffing it up, and you can tell by the usual bumbling. So it's just a familiarity for me, and a trust we've talked about.
Yeah.
Trust that the journey's um, there's something you're going into, almost going into, or you're aligning with something that's correct, and that feels really trustworthy, welcoming, joyous. It feels right.
All the above. Yeah.
Yeah, all those great words. So and then obviously along the way we start stuffing it up with we start
Oh, yeah.
thinking, mindful.
Yeah.
So
Careful of
it's always
mindful. Careful with that word. The mindful people use it different than my and your sense of mindful. Yeah, we don't mean that. Yeah, and they don't mean that either. Although it's not a good word.
yeah.
One of their leaders mentioned to me, it's not a good word when they said, we're supposed to share a workshop or something. And I said, I'm going to have trouble with mindful. And once he caught what I was saying, he said, oh, no, we don't mean that. Well, go ahead.
So it's yeah. Well, for me personally, I always get curious, which brings in the thinking
Yeah,
side of me.
yeah,
So that curiosity sort of goes mindful, opposed to it has an air of progression,
yeah.
and then I
What
start.
about, what about curious about something and then the experiential of it? But at first, it's got to be something that sort of spark it, sort of be curiosity. Jesus, what was that about? Okay, easy. Let's see if it will replay. Okay. And that starts the potential experience of that. So we need something to spark. So it's okay to be sparked with curiosity. As long as you don't stay there being more curious and more curious and more curious, now you're screwing up. But
Yeah,
the word itself, or that you have intelligence, that's fine. But what about the experience half of creation? That's the missing piece for most.
Yeah.
Okay. OSensei's big push and big
And that's
bitch.
been and that's been a big practice for me, that experience. I think that's an amazing point to sort of come back to and ask the question. So it's
Yeah.
been great. So thank you for that.
And I have to add on to that. For those that are too, quote, mental, uh, in that capability of being mental, it seems to me that there's a tendency of being mental about something, and in that, thinking you're experiencing it, when it's still the mental portion of the experience. It's not the fullness of the experience. That there's still a little misunderstanding by the awareness types, or the, I call them upper types, the awareness types, that they're experiencing. And I always say, I wish they would double check that they would, I don't know, double it up, double check, not take it for granted because they're aware of it and hanging out for a moment that they're experiencing it. I would love for them to really catch what experience is. Really double check it and triple check it.
The dimensionality of experience, really, isn't it? So you almost, get into that next level of experience.
Yeah. So anyway, thank you, Chris. Anybody want to catch up? Do I know who Teresa is? Teresa, do I know who you are? Dice?
We've spoken twice before.
Okay.
Yes.
There you are. Oh, yeah. Okay. Gotcha. Thank you. I just wanted to see who you were. Okay.
No worries, sir.
Okay. Tom's with us. Hi, Tom. Okay. Somebody, what are you working on? What are your insights that you'd like to share with us? I need help. Not a comment, not a question. Come on, people.
Do you even want me to ask something?
Try.
Okay. No, I really want to jump into where you're headed in a way, so I don't want to cut anything off.
No, you can start it. They're not too responsive tonight, so go for it, Richard. Go for it.
Yeah, I guess my question would be, what do you remember? Do you have any memories of OSensei's comments on making the distinctions of how we would understand what he meant by those words? Because, God knows by the time it's translated into English, who knows where we are.
I'm going to try. That's what tonight is about.
Please.
Okay, you want a quickie? Let's start with a quickie.
Sounds great.
Manifest. Here, they're in different colors, but you can't see it on the screen. Anyway, this is manifest world, okay? And this is the one where basic normal human being, whatever, and our development. This is where we develop Bobby to Robert to Nadeau, or a 1x to a 2x to a 3x, whatever, okay? Where we learn to easy the eye, settle, open, pick up other, again, levels of ourself and the experience thereof, okay? Manifest. Now, this can go finer and finer and finer. So there's, Nadeau, there's a Nadeau sensei, there's the great Nadeau. Bear with me. The superlative Nadeau. Really bear with me. And it goes on and on and on. OSensei said. Okay, finer to finer to finer to finer to finer to finer to finer. Almost seemingly endless. When you get enough experience, practice, here, let's say 1x to a 2x to a 3x, 4x, that should be pretty damn close enough. Or Bobby, he can't pull this off very well. Robert, little touches. Nadeau, well, we're getting close now, maybe. Sensei, oh, Sensei should be able to pull some of this stuff off. Where we're sort of saying enough is enough. Again, Sensei's words to me, enough is enough. He likes the word more original. So this can go on and on and on and finer and finer and finer. But when you get the sense of how things work, it's center to circle, circle to center, how Bobby can move into the dimension of Robert, da-da, 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 the qualities that you have, da-da, da-da, da-da. At a certain point, enough is enough in that world, in that universe. And so I say cut to the chase. You can start to cut to the chase a bit. More original, easy. Now we're touching a border here. So let's see what to say about a border there. You've had border experience in a 1x1 of Bobby to shift to a 2x2 of Robert. There's a bit of a border, a little maybe consternation, a little eagerness for it, depending on where you're coming from. There's a little border there. Bobby might be afraid to settle and open to the presence of Robert because Robert has more responsibility. And if Bobby picks up that information too soon, it's too much for him. I can't do that. Okay. If in my early years you had asked whoever was there, the Bobby, the Robert, whoever was there, to teach to a room full of psychiatrists, holy shit, I can't do that. You see? So you got to be careful of getting a preview of next finer. It could scare you away. Okay. Or you could not realize it's the next finer and think because it's sort of there previewing, oh, I understand the whole movie. No, you saw a little preview. You saw 3 scenes. That's just to catch your attention, to suck you into the game of now will you move into, will you allow that level to be present? So to move into from this world of manifest to the next world of hidden, okay, might be a little border, but you've had some practice. If you've done your Bobby, Robert, Nadeau, your 1x, 2x, 3x. Are we okay so far? Sort of, kind of? Yeah. Now, I like I call this the sensing world. We've been talking about sensing a lot lately. So for me, the hidden is, OSensei's hidden is what I call the sensing world, where we're entering a whole new level, but bigger. So you just can't do this is another dimension. No, we're past that. Lauren, you hearing what I'm saying? You can talk to me tomorrow if you want. I don't want to continue to use dimensional because you've already established sort of what that is. A bigger shift here into the hidden realm or the sensing realm. It's almost like be prepared for a lot of new things, be open for new things. Okay. I'm getting lost. We will continue those. We'll talk about we've been working on the sensing world, making some good stabs at it the last few sessions, I think. The sort of the new one, the divine one. Now we're getting fancy. And the border from the hidden experiential world. And there's a lot of good prep. Well, there's a lot of good prep from the manifest potentially to the sensing hidden world. And in hanging out with that sensing world, a lot of good practices, a lot of good experiences to help transition's the right word, into the before of that. the more original, which OSensei calls divine. Oh boy. And the border is such to be more major now. OSensei would talk about being bumped quite strongly when he hit that border. Not that you can't pass through and stuff, but it might be kind of much bigger, much stronger, much more something happening there that could throw you off a bit. Okay. But again, you've had practice if you've realized, experienced it. And then if you hang out a little bit longer, better in the hidden, the sensing world, universe, realm, you should have enough sort of experience to help you pass through the border into the divine, more original. Okay. And a lot of stuff will show and you'll have to experience it. Oh boy, what to say? The divine is will bring you to the beginnings of creation if you follow the right things that are there. Let's say the balance, the self, more transparent, Sensei's words, transparency of self in the space that is easy with itself. Now we're talking a very original in the divine of self, very transparent, and not just as an idea, people, but the transparency of self is experiencing itself, the more transparency of itself. There's an experience there. Now, that's why we push so much on, damn it, I wish you'd experience it more, better, fuller in the manifest. Damn well don't forget it when you get to the hidden, okay, because things get a bit, in a certain way, lighter, let's say, but you can't go all mental there again. That's a big screw up. Sorry to say, a big screw up, ancient screw up. The experiential part, and again, watch out. Oh, I'm sort of aware of this. I'm experiencing it. Double check that. Okay. That the divine world, again, to be experienced, and the clarity of the, say, balance of things, the transparent self, to the space that's there, easy with itself, and everything that's there. And I hate to, in a certain way, say everything that's there, because you'll get all cluttered up, maybe. But you're getting close to the first beginnings of the layout of creation. The creation that, what's his name? The creator created. Okay. So we're journeying back. This has all been a journey, a trip. Okay. To the more original of things. And eventually, you'll pick up more of how it started and how it laid out. Vroom, vroom. By the way, OSensei calls that, he said, that's what I call the Golden Bridge. That's going to throw you. Oh boy, did I lose you? Because I think I lost me. Richard, you started this. Say something.
You just hit it, Bob, because I was thinking as soon as you said that, I don't know how many, times I've heard you even mention it, but I've never really heard you talk about kind of what you thought it meant or what he said it meant, or, that famous quote of, we didn't know where the floating bridge was or how to stand on it. So we just put on a good face and kept applying techniques to each other. So
explain where you got that phrase from.
It came from
phrase. It wasn't no sensei phrase. So tell the people where you got that from.
That came from the, Lauren, help me with the name of the blog that Chris Lee sends out of Honolulu. Sagenkai?
Dangenkai. The three principles.
Son Genkai. But a guy named Chris Lee, who you almost had coffee with when you were there, has a blog and he quotes one of the deshi, and I don't remember which deshi it was, but it was from way back there. And it was just the sense that they didn't even consider it. They just, well, and we went on and doing this whatever the physical aspect was. And so I've always felt like you've shown the floating bridge. You are whatever you want to call it. So, your Aikido is standing on the floating bridge, but I've never really heard you connect the terminology or the Shinto or the myth or any of it with our practice in such a way that, I just thought almost anything you say would enrich the game, anything at all. So I don't really expect anything but whatever. I'd love to hear more about it.
Okay. Also, people, I have to be careful how I say this, but I'm going to have to say it. This is not what OSensei told me 60 years ago. We're still in conversation. So this is last week. This is last month. So of course my layout changes a bit and stuff because I'm developing and my communications ability is developing. So don't put this stuff as, 60 years ago when Nadeau was in the vicinity of OSensei, this is what he heard. It's his ongoing nonsense we're talking here. Okay, let's clean that up a little bit. I have to be careful because how many people out there are going to say, Nadeau's crazy. He says he's talking to OSensei. Ooh. But I have to tell you, you're my people, right? I have to tell you. I have to lay it out. Where the hell are we? Manifest, hidden, divine.
Floating bridge.
Floating bridge. Okay. Yeah. So whatever I just said, the perfection at the beginning of creation and how it lays out, and being able to stand at that level, okay, to experience at that level, to be fully at that level in your experience. That's the layout and the return journey back, all there. Jun, 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 jun. Yeah. There's the potential speed of it. So you remember how fast OSensei was. He could go from this old man to Ueshiba of Aikido. Whoa, whoa, bing, bang. So this long journey that we're taking, yeah, it is long and on and next piece and the next piece. But after a bit, it flows through much faster, much faster. Okay. That's why I use the old dumb example of a checkerboard game where your first moves are one square at a time until you reach the end, and which time they king you, and then you can move across the board fully. I've always thought that was sort of a good example of this. Did that come out right?
Sensei, just Chris again from New Zealand. So those spaces, the hidden and divine, that's where the words really get messy, right? And it's hard to explain.
Yes. And by the way, let me jump in. OSensei says it's going to be a bitch. It was a bitch for him, and he knows it's a bitch for me. It's a bitch. We're doing the best we can. Yeah.
And yeah,
go ahead.
Because there's experiences that from my experience, a couple of times I've been fortunate enough to stand in a space where the space was almost overwhelming, but it was things were done and simpler. I couldn't align with it, but I stood in a space going, holy moly, this was beyond that space, and I couldn't explain exactly what I was. It was just really weird.
Yeah.
And it was in an Aikido setting, and people were coming, but it was like, this is done. Well, the physical side was not necessary almost. It was very weird, but it was hard to explain the words and the space, the domain, it was probably a nice way to put it. It was very, so it's an interesting transition. Yeah.
And we sort of touched on that a bit when we're talking about the sensing realm, how we get these flow throughs, bleed throughs. What word were we using? flow through from the sensing world to this world? Bleed
Yes.
through?
Bleed through some of the time it was bleed through, yeah.
Bleed through. That sounds a bit what he's saying, that something much fancier was there in his heavy world, and he can't account for it, but whatever it was a wow, and in fact, too big a wow. Boom. For me, that's what piques my interest. I say, whoa, I can't do anything much more at that time, but I can go home and sit and settle and open and say, what was that? A certain sense of, let me get to that level again, easy, settle, open. Let me get to that level where I can more alert, be there, fuller, knowing it's big, knowing it's awesome, whatever, and prepping myself to deal with it, to open to it. That's what I do. So it's not just something that happened and I never go back and check it again. But I'll tell you all the stories about what happened 20 years ago because something flashed through and it was magical. And yeah, what have you done with that since? Not a damn thing, except keep telling me that same story of this fantastic thing that happened to you 20 years ago. Ah!
Well, yeah, it's interesting looking at the and I'm trying to, in your words, like map where some progress through my, like in the Aikido is my best vehicle.
That's a reference, yeah.
And moving from that manifest to hidden is where a lot of my curiosity and like, oh, what is that? Instead of experiencing, I'm asking a question and sort of maybe get a bit mindful. Bad word again, sorry.
Yeah.
Start
again, let me jump in. Yeah, you can say, what was that and all of that? But if you just stay with that,
yeah,
well, then screw you. It's like, but that should start to, yeah, I think I'll sit with that one. I think I'll settle with that one and see if it opens and unfolds to me. If not, I hit it the next day and say, well, I had this thought about, and I hit it again and again. So then I'm always mulling about it.
yeah.
Jump in, jump in, get involved, experience, open.
Hey.
Sometimes it shows a lot real fast. Sometimes nothing for a week. It's kind of I can't figure it out. Yeah. And I think, oh, it's not going to show for me, or it's not really there. Maybe I made it up. Stop it. Hit it again. Open, settle. That's the journey. That's the trip. That's the practice.
It's awesome. Thank you.
Thank you. So, God, manifest, hidden, divine. Balance. OSensei's been hot about that word lately. Balance. So we're trying to, in the manifest, let's start there. Aikido, let's start there, example. Balance, okay? And we start with a lot of simple stuff, left side, right side. In that left-right balance, who am I, as an example practice, okay? Or up flows, down flows till they feel balanced. Someplace along the way, okay, that feels pretty balanced. Who am I, the character here? Balance, up and down, left and right, he and she. We chant balance, okay? We physically practice balance. Aikido, do your left side. Now do your right side. Now be the positive factor. Now be the receptive factor. We're running through it over and over again. What we forget to do on the mat is stop after a bit and say, I feel kind of balanced. Now, who am I? Who's the centered character? You ain't Bobby anymore, kind of thing, you know. What's your experience of yourself? And after a while, we include the center to the circle. And what's your sense of the world or situation you're in? Okay. So balance, center to circle, up to down, down to up, in and out, up and down. We chant it, we move it. What else do we do with it? I forget the basics. So balance. Now, when you move into the hidden and hang out there for a bit, a sense that it's bigger will be there. It vibes a bit different. Is that the right phrasing? Vibes a bit different. Its texture will be a bit different. Okay. Different than the finer and finer of the manifest. It'll be a little bit different. Okay. However it is in your case. Okay. Where am I going? Balance. The balance factor there may show clearer. Okay. Example. Steve, Steve's hanging around in here. You're bumping into a netting and a what?
Well, netting, excuse me, and particles.
Particle. Okay. All right. Now, hold on, jump in there. Bumped into this many years ago, wasn't quite sure it was being laid out, but it was laying that pattern out. Where the netting is like the circular world, and the particles are like the stuff that fills in the netting. I used to see it more like a beehive where you've got little, I don't know anything about beehives, but you got little openings that get filled with honey. That was my first sense of it. So anyway, in a finer hidden, this netting is not quite the right word. What? Grid and particles. Yeah. OSensei likes those words. The grid and particles is a more advanced level of the harmony of things. As big as the grid is, there are particles equal that want to be there. So there's a male-female attraction relationship there. Damn the words. Okay, so Steve's running into that because he's starting to play with the hidden more and more. Okay, and that's one thing that showed to him. Another thing playing with the hidden that is starting to show to him is another quality. Let's call it the third quality. That in your basic manifest, you've got your basic two qualities, whatever they are. I remember my consternation, fight, confusion, question with myself way back when I got confused between, wait, I'm studying this warrior stuff. I want to defeat people. I want to hurt people. I want to fucking kill people. Okay? And yet over here, I want to sort of meditate and I want to become more aware. I was on my spiritual trip and I had those two sides of me. And for a while, I was a little confused. Like, which is it? Okay. So a couple of my qualities are related to that. The martial art lineage and the spiritual lineage, whatever qualities are there for that make up Bobby Robert Nadeau. Okay. When you enter in the vicinity of the hidden or sensing realm, a third quality will quite likely begin to show. Back to Steve. Steve, your third quality there?
Well, it's been a while since
Hello?
I did it, but
Hello?
yes, I'm here.
Your third quality? Color, texture, come on.
Yeah, you know, the recollection is of sitting on a throne. It's just kind of like a warrior, but
A warrior king because you're on a throne.
yeah, and it is somewhat exalted, a kind of a much more advanced being. I'm trying to think of the words. It's been a while since.
And it was kind of golden.
Yes, okay, the golden boy.
Yeah, that's the advanced form of the golden boy, by the way.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah. So there's the third quality, this golden one. And as you play with it and you let it grow, what is that me?
Yeah.
What's happening?
Watch.
I didn't fall. Jesus. Do something with this. My phone says I fell. Mentally, I may have.
Okay, yeah, it didn't fall.
Sorry, the watch took my world over here. That's the vortex, you see, where watches can pull you in from this great work that we're doing into what the hell? That's called the vortex. Do I dare? You can put it up there. I don't need it.
Put too much energy.
Oh, too much energy, is that it?
I'm thinking.
Thank you, Katja. Yes, it was people, it was too much energy, as would set the watch off. Yes. Oh, God. Anyway, so in playing with the sensing world, the hidden, I believe, Steve, you realize it was like bigger. It'll show bigger.
Yeah, definitely a much bigger space.
Okay.
And it's funny because you had not tied in the third quality and the sensing world, although I kind of had a hunch that was
Well, weren't they happening at virtually the same time, give or take a day? A week?
No, I was working on the third quality, then we kind of pulled it back, and I was wondering why I was being pulled back on from that. And then I kind of had a hunch, maybe you're just showing me a different aspect
Yeah.
of that. Now you're calling it the hidden world, but
They come in
yes,
close together, potentially. I'm just giving people a heads up that
yeah,
playing here, not to be surprised if there's a presence of a quality. Okay. And then there'll be the question or the soon in there also, who's the character there with that quality? And you told us about that one, that it's a warrior ruler king, a warrior king. And there's a lot of gold around. Boom, boom.
yeah.
And there's a bit more, but yeah. Yeah, I'm just
And
people all you all get something not similar, but your form of whatever is there for you in your creation layout, in your hidden realm. Yes.
But also what I was going to say is that third quality, that warrior, whatever, also has that kind of knowingness that ties in with sensing.
Yes, of course.
Yeah.
They're in the same area, realm.
Yeah.
So, of
So
course.
you have access to all this information. Or
Yeah. If you experience, there's information that's being experienced.
yeah.
Yeah. So there's still a fancier level of mind body going on.
Yeah.
At that level. At that level. Ah. Do we lose too many people there? Okay. So do spend some time with that hidden sensing. There's that's why I tried to make it exciting for you by saying, the dog whisperers are operating from a sensing level. The horse whisperers are operating from a sensing level. We think Yo-Yo Ma is operating from a sensing level. He's so far beyond. Einstein sure is shit. Sensing level. Remember, he would, I think, I don't know much about Einstein, but when people start, you've got a big brain, he would try to, he's in a sensing realm. But the people in the manifest saying, I can't figure that out, so I'll call it a big brain. I'll try to be smarter. And he's like, it ain't smarter. It's a different realm here that he was able to drop into. To show that it was there and to experience in that level things that normal people didn't know about. We're talking also, I think, in the sensing world about these child prodigies. Where the hell are they coming from? I mean, Stephen Samuel sent me this clip on this little girl. Well, she's 20 or 22 now, but at like 8 years old, and she's already writing operas. I think it was operas. And all the musical parts.
Yeah.
And the words, the songs. She's doing all of it. Now at 22 years old, she's continuing. She's still doing it. She's running the whole show, writing everything. But this is 8 years old. She's doing this. Oh, she must be very smart. She must have a big brain. Come on. She's operating from a different level. Okay. Different level. That's why I love that we should spend more time in the sensing realm and see what talents you have there. Susan. Susan, say something if you're on.
Yes,
should-
Sensei.
You there?
Uh-huh.
Say something amazing about the sensing world and your abilities as they continue. Help me here.
I'd say that the simplicity of opening and settling and I'd been playing more with the easiness of the space
Yeah.
so that the information that's available is just there. There's so much potential, there's so much available there.
Just there. In the sensing realm, it opens up a lot more.
Yes.
Yeah. With
I don't go
all kinds of
looking.
I'm just going to jump in for a second. All kinds of variations. I mean, music, medical, talking to dogs, for Christ's sakes, plants, Carver, the Peanut Man, not Carver, right? Right. Not President Carver, the Peanut Man.
George Washington Carver.
George Washington Carver. Yeah. Just many years ago, I read a little booklet about him. I told from first go around was, I love this guy. Fantastic. He was able to, talk to plants and have plants tell him the more that they could do. So his story was taking a peanut, which was a junk food at the time. They feed it to pigs. That was it. A couple of kids would nibble on it. But it was a pig food. And in the sensing realm, you can talk to things and hear what they're saying back. So they they laid out all their possibilities. So peanut oil and this, and I forget how many products came out of that. It wasn't 3 or 4, it was hundreds from the damn peanut, which had been garbage. What about the Potato Man? Not Nadeau speak here. Luther Burbank. What he could do with plants. Fantastic. Oh, he must have had a bigger brain. Not at his level. That's a sensing realm. And I'm thinking, geez, what are your talents? If you can do this, what Susan was saying, easy, settle, open, we get through the manifest. We do it properly because you've had practice in the manifest of being centered to the circle and circle to the center, easy the eye. Continue to settle and open, and then make this transition right through. It's right here. Make this transition right through to the sensing world. And let's find out what your capabilities are from the sensing world. Susan, I cut you off. You got anything here?
Just a reminder that it takes patience. So like you said, sometimes something will show up, you may not be sure about it, and sitting with it, hanging out with it for longer, coming back around on it. So the process does take patience.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, what OSensei used to call practice. Keep practicing. Okay. But for me, it was practice in this process of I'm practicing to get to the more original experientially. Practice. When the Aikido people, the heavies, talk about practice, keep practicing, I always make the joke of who practicing what. I'm going to keep practicing my Nikkyo till I do 2 million Nikkyos, and then I'll be good. I may even be as good as OSensei one day if I keep practicing Nikkyo. I make a joke about that. Who practicing what? So there's the outward practice, Yeah, we do a little bit, but it's for inner work and inner development, the inner journey. When your journey becomes that kind of practice, as opposed to, yeah, I'll use that for a reference, a soft reference. But the real journey is the inner journey. Like, yeah, you play the guitar or whatever, and you'll tape it and you listen to it. How's it sound? Okay. But the harmony, the balance, you playing that music is also the inner journey. If you do it as an inner journey, who am I now? The better musician. Who am I now? Eventually, the great potential musician. So yeah, we use outside stuff as a reference, but human people, they really get caught up in the outer. They forget the inner. Or they go outer and pay lip service to the inner. Yes. Me hitting this tire with my stick over and over and over, and I'm spiritually growing as they try to hit it harder and make more noise. They're a little bit confused there. Okay, so yeah, a little outer practice, and you reference it, but for inner development.
Yeah, Sensei,
It's a trip.
this is Tom. I
Hey, Tom.
really enjoyed Susan's reference because it reminds me of practice with you and developing qualities. I think we were working on 4 qualities at camp, and it came to me that the qualities I was looking for were immediately adjacent. In other words, I didn't have to, there weren't things I needed to meditate for a year to discover, or
But
travel
they're
around
there.
the world, or climb a mountain to experience them. They were just immediately adjacent. They were the most beneficial and powerful qualities that I had. And so all the things that appear almost as synchronicities that could be defined as genius, they're just things that are just there. I mean, that's why a child who has an unworldly, who hasn't seen the world yet, can create an opera because it's just immediately adjacent for that individual.
Yeah.
And I wanted to, it also reminds me of what you've taught us about OSensei when he was on the beach and getting his butt kicked by these bigger kids, and suddenly he realized that he's just pulling up qualities from earth, fire, air, and water, and suddenly he's in the manifest. He's really in his sensory world, and that was an experience for him that just transformed him. So it's an amazing story.
Yeah, I like his history, and I like to keep mentioning his history because it's a good center to circle layout. So, so again, he's on the beach. He's a sickly kid. That's why they brought him down to sumo, and he's getting his butt kicked. And he tries to be spiritual about it because of his upbringing by his mother, who has that thing. But his father said, nah, to the beach sumo. His father had a take on him that was right on. And anyway, he tried to be spiritual about it, but they still kick his butt. He realized he was missing something. Then he caught on to this up and down kind of beat, which developed his body. And very soon he was holding his own, amazing everybody, because they all in town knew he was a sickly kid. He continued, and he got wow. He was kicking their butt. And he continued till he was a young strong man doing already strongman things. And he continued warrior training, and he continued. So he really worked well with the centering development. Okay, till he got to be one of the best. Okay, he was missing something. He was a little confused about how things work a bit. So he runs into Takeda. Okay, who is very well known, top of the line jujitsu guy. because he sees that Takeda has something that he needs. So he picks up from Takeda the fuller of being centered. Okay. He feels where he's as good as Takeda, maybe even a little bit better, but at that level anyway. Now he feels he's still missing something, really. So he heads into Deguchi Omotokyo Sensei, okay, who says, wow, you're fantastic being a centered character. But if you just continue and continue, you're just going to be a very advanced Takeda, and that's not your trip. Okay. I'm going to show you what the circle is. OSensei had a bit of a sense, of course, social and whatever, but didn't realize the enormity of circle. So you got this great center, but with a not clear circle. So that became his study there. And Deguchi would really bug him by, in a certain way, not letting him be go back to his just being centered. He would give him different jobs where he couldn't be sensei, the tough guy kind of thing, for practice, along with his understanding of how circle worked and what it was. The great concept of creation, the being that takes up residence in that creation. So he starts to get the relationship of center to circle. Now he's really, really good. Okay. Because there's balance. That's where I want to go to. He's getting this balance at a very great manifest level. Okay. Let's see, I don't know the timing here, but then there's some trigger into the hidden. Okay. And then a major as he triggers into the divine. Okay. Sees the origin of things. So when he starts talking about there is no space or time before Ueshiba of Aikido, he's in divine territory there. Okay. And whatever that is like. No space, no time, whatever. Where am I going? I got lost. Anyway, I sort of love some of the old sensei stories. Even now, I'll ask him to go over some of the old stuff just for fun.
Thank you for that, for laying out that experience. It's circle center, yes.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah. So easy, settle, open. There's a harmony of the circle space, circle in and out. And if you're of that style, okay, remember I'm more of a, at first, centered style, but some of you start with the circle style, okay, that some degree of balance, who am I here, as more of a centered experience. A centered experience. So try to keep those two in balance with each other. So OSensei liked the, let me call it addition sign. That was one he would frequently write down if he was going to talk about something, and he had his little note whiteboard there. He liked that addition sign because that was his center to circle rep. You want to keep them in harmony, or in your practice, keep them in harmony. A certain amount of circle, circle, circle. Who am I now? Center up and down. Feeling pretty good. Now, the next level of circle in and out. And the next level of that balance, who am I here? Now up and down. So the up and down and the in and out, working in tandem. Okay. More advanced is what Steve was talking about when he's bumping into the netting. Give me another word for netting, Steve.
Grid.
Grid, thank you. The grid and the particles is that harmony, balance, and they're in relationship. And the better their relationship is, the better balance that's there. And again, at a certain level there, who am I? So you've got a character through all these worlds, okay? And you still have characters along the way. And even in the divine territory, there's a character. I won't tell you what OSensei's character, he named himself there, or what the character was, because I think it would just confuse you. But there is a more original character at the beginnings of creation. Okay. And as the creation unfolds, and we got caught up in this and vortexed in a bit and got a little and lost a lot of things, and here we are in the lobster trap of humanity. But we still have a character. We still have space, easy, settle, open. That's why I brought up 2x, 3x, 4x as sort of an introduction to the spaces there. And in the more space, that can develop better. And as this develops better, then that tries to keep in balance with it. And keep that balance, harmony practice thing going. Did I lose myself and lose you here? All along the way. Okay. So some of the tricks of experience and whatever that you have done and should not be afraid of, is not like you're going back to kindergarten. It's just a good reference to then move into the sensing realm, and where we have to spend a little more time. Of course, for some of you, it's a brand new thing. It's fun. I tried to make it exciting by saying you could talk to dogs, maybe, or maybe you'll be able to grow plants different or whatever. But that then will be the doorway to the divine realm, if you really want to continue this trip. Okay, yeah. It's pretty fancy level divine. I mean, you know, we're getting into OSensei's territory. Christ, which one of the, I call Christ here the Top Gun. He was firstest along the line. I don't know who else, because I don't have the what's the write-in book? You go someplace and you write your name. What's that called?
Registry or registry.
Register. I don't have the register for who's gotten to that realm. So, but Christ and OSensei, definitely. Okay. If there are others, yeah, I'm sure, but I don't have the registry, so can't name other names. Nor do I want to start any spiritual fight here. Well, what about Buddha? And what about what about what about? I don't want no hassle with the Muslims. I got enough trouble here. Where the hell are we? People, I'm all over the place. Where are we?
We're in a good place, we're in a good place, Sensei.
Yeah.
Right. We're in a good
Okay.
place.
It's a long journey. Can be a bitch. But what I want to say, but if you hung out this long, we can continue. It should get a little better, a little clearer, a little easier. Plus, I want to do as much work, proper experience, because I'm getting at that age where I don't know when I'm going to move out of here. And I just continue good work. Okay. A lot of people die kind of heavy and dumb, and they just come around in line again, and they're born again heavy and dumb. What a shame. They don't take advantage of what they can do now, or if they continue after they move out of this one, that they can continue their training in another, I'm going to call it astral plane, another dimensional level, whatever level is comfortable for them, and continue the work, continue the journey. Yeah. That's the game. That's the game. We're created out of something, and we're just going back to that and that original, and whatever the original experience is. What the hell is God's self? I don't know. I'm hanging around trying to figure it out or experience it. But that's where we're going. That's there for all of us. That's the trip. Yeah. So some are interested in the trip, and we're talking to many of them now. Some aren't. Leave me alone. I don't want to be bothered with that shit or whatever. I'm busy. Whatever. Be true to thine own self. I've got a calling. I have no choice. If I don't do this stuff, I'm just going to be beset by forces and I'll go weird. You think when I make a joke about Bobby, there's weird Bobby and there's insanity. I've experienced it a little bit and I don't want to go back into that. Plus, this calling is so strong. So strong. Yeah. And some of you are interested intellectually about it. And all I have to do is say, yeah, but damn it, experiential is the other half of the equation. It's like the creation is both this consciousness and this experience, both equal. That if we don't get more balanced, even in the divine, you may not be able to do the next click, whatever the next click is, because you're not balanced. It's unfortunate we can get that far and still be off balance a bit. But that's the power of just awareness and not enough experience. That's why OSensei pushed on that over and over and over and still bitches about it when people don't do that. Yeah. Ah.
Sensei, just Chris here from New Zealand. I often I like the balance is brilliant. The quite often in different scenarios you find yourself either, you know, in a bad place, but you know there's something better almost side by side, and taking the moment to go through the process. And it does feel like an equalizing of the situation and yourself, either whichever comes up, whichever comes down. There's always a sense of equalizing, balancing, harmonizing, even if it's coming down to a small place. And then you're like, okay, where, you know, there's balance. Then I can start growing better. And not always reaching to that big balance. Sometimes coming down to an even sustainable balance and then start the process in a balanced place.
Okay. Yeah. Okay. Couple of little corrections. You use the word self when I would have been happy with just a character.
Okay.
Characters come and go. Self is more constant and more original. Bobby's going to be gone. I don't know when, day after tomorrow, next week.
Good into your watch soon.
But self will still be there. Consciousness will still be there. Experiential consciousness will still be there. Yeah. So a little correction there. Yeah, you don't have to come down to a tight to start this game. But you're saying something that's okay. Okay. So I'm a normal day kind of thing. Right where I'm at, easy. I'm starting to establish basics, easy. Settle open a bit. Starting to play a little bit with da and da, easy. So if I can get my Bobby Robert squared away, then I can start to move faster and faster and faster and faster. So yeah, I agree with what you said. Yeah. Clean that up. But I just didn't want people to think they've got to come in and get it to they're crazy and then start this off. I didn't want them to mishear that. Yeah.
I guess the experiential story would be like, you know, if I've got you know, for work wise, if there's a big expectation and I'm feeling small in that tight space and thinking, well, exactly that, balance this unit up and let that gradually build itself up to meet that expectation and then create the balance.
Yeah, if talking Nadeau speak, if I really feel like I'm sort of an asshole level, I don't have to do too much to not be such an asshole. I don't have to be a great hidden or the beginnings of divine being. Sometimes just not to be such an asshole. Okay. That's hell. As far as the world's concerned, that's a pretty good step. A lot of assholes out there. If they would all take a moment to not be quite such assholes, there'd be fewer fights, fewer fingers floating around at you, whatever. Yeah. Okay. We're pumping time here, people. Anybody, anything? And I'm not probably finished with this, right? I don't know where to go at the moment. So mull on this, and you're going to have to feed me some questions to steer me next time we meet. But anyway, that's a pretty good map. One way I was holding back and leery of laying this out, especially the hidden, because the smart people, the intellectual type, will say, oh yeah, I can picture that. I got it. And they won't do the experiential part of this journey. The problem. Oh, Sensei was always careful, and still is, by the way, careful of laying out too much ahead of you, where, oh yeah, I understand now, thank you, bye, and not the experiential part. So even when I talk to him and ask questions now, I've got to have some experience of it before he'll retort back with me. Okay. I just can't sit around and ask a bunch of questions like how many angels on the head of a pin and blah, blah, blah. I can't do that. He won't play the game there. Okay. His phrasing in English to me is, you got to put it on the table. Meaning I have to have some experience and feeling about this question that or topic I'm going to get into. So I have to sort of put it on the table as best as I've experienced it. And then he'll clarify and add on for me. But I just can't I don't know. I haven't done anything with that. Tell me about it. He won't go there. That's not his style. Okay, did I say that right? Noah, did I say that right? Okay. We're reaching the end, so somebody say something to shut me up.
Thank you so much, Sensei. It was the most complete and eloquent presentation of your themes to date.
Well, good, because it's a tough subject. I really was sort of dreading this, to tell you the truth. Okay, for two reasons. One, the wordings get hard here, especially when you get into the hidden's not so bad. I think we're getting a language for that. The divine territory is getting woof. The words are getting a little woof. But OSensei totally agrees with me there and says, yes, it's woof. What a bitch.
Well, thank you, Sensei, for laying out the process and outlining its entirety and placing importance and value on each part of the development and each part of the experience, so we don't get hung up on, oh, the divine is so great, I must be there already, and you just say it's all about the divine when actually it might be more about the manifest and the value that's there to be in the manifest.
That's a good topic, Tom.
Yeah.
So real quick, because we're on time, the importance of the journey that we've been on.
Right.
So even, let's say, even you got to divine, and you got to your most original, and you're there at your brand new beginning again kind of flavor. That this journey that got you there is a very important piece of the game. Kind of like, and this is not quite right, people, bear with me. Kind of like the creator says, okay, here, you're a free agent. Here's a creation. Go ye. I'll give you a lot of power. You can create within your own creation. And come back. Now, I'm going to make all this up here. And come back and tell me or show me what you've experienced. Okay? So everybody on their style individual things returns back to an original, having experienced the creation, how it laid out and how it got back. Sorry, again, you're going to excuse the words, but there was some kind of truth in there someplace. Okay. Justin, who are you mouthing off to? Are you singing?
No, I got some babies and dogs over here that are they're vying for some attention. So I'm like, not yet.
Okay, I think.
Thank you.
So you've got until the 21st, next one, to mull on this, and please, I'll need questions to help steer me, see where you're at. Again, I suggest that this hidden sensing world, I'm calling it, is really potentially kicky and very special. Play, hang out. Let's be, even in the world, let's be a better presence. Let's be more of a gift to the world, in the sense that the names we were naming, Yo-Yo, George Washington Carver. These are gifts to the world from these people. Okay, so possibly you have a right there ready to go gift to the world. Okay. Susan, with her medical work, is doing great work. Yeah. Some doctors are sending her patients that have nothing to do with physical therapy, which is her line. But when they can't figure it out and don't know what to do, they send her to Susan. Because at this level, you start to see things and know things and experience things way beyond what she went to school about. Entering that terrain. So you all have that terrain available. What's there for you beats the shit out of me. It's yours. But it's there. That I can guarantee. It's all been laid out already, the pattern. Yeah. And it's trying to show, it's trying to unfold. That's why it nags you sometimes. Say, hey, I'm here. Will you wake up and settle down and open up to me? I'm trying to talk to you. Oh, but you're making me nervous. Oh, but I'm getting pissed off. That can't be God. I'm getting pissed off. Oh, it's a force. Hey, where's it coming from? It's coming from the bigger of things. Yeah. So a lot of things that agitate us and throw us are beautiful things trying to show that they're there. We just haven't learned the language too much. My knees are trembling. Oh, let's call it stage fright. The fuck? Really? We're at that stage still? Dear God. Anyway, a lot available to you if you're interested. I try to map it out as best as I can. See you in the 21st. Thank you for hanging out.
Thank you, Sensei.
Good
Thank you,
night.
Sensei. Thank you, everybody.
you.
Thank you, Bob. Thank you, Lauren.
Good night, everybody.
Thank you,
See you on-
Sensei. Thanks,
Thank you very
everyone.
much.
Thank
Thank you,
you,
Sensei.
Sensei.
See you.
Night. Good night.
Soon.
Thank you all. Good night. Good night. Good night.